Good morning, guys. I'm gonna share some stereotypes about software engineers that hit a little too close to home for me. You let me know if you think they're true or not. Before we start, a like and a sub would be hugely appreciated. Also, if you're into slightly unhinged Discord communities, I have one for you in the pinned comment. Okay, now, who are we gonna roast first? I'm gonna cover only the roles either I have done myself or have worked very closely with to try and keep it real. And those are junior frontend, senior frontend, junior backend, senior backend, junior infrastructure, and senior infrastructure. Junior frontend. One word. Obsession. Obsession with frameworks, with tools. Which one to pick, which one to learn. Is Angular still a good choice? What about Flutter versus React Native? Regardless, server-side rendering and incremental hydration for a personal portfolio on Vercel that handles 7 visitors a month is a defining characteristic as well. The deepest fear of a junior frontend is calling 2 separate endpoints and combining the responses. Favorite language TypeScript, favorite editor VS Code. A junior frontend developer strongly believes that the only thing standing between them and a senior role is mastering Vim. The dream of a junior software engineer is to build their own frontend framework. Senior frontend. One word for you guys: monad. If you want to spot a senior frontend in the wild, look for the following keywords: reactive programming, RxJS, Epic, Reducer, Signal, pure functions. You can also look for a project with the most lines of code in your organization. That is the front-end build configuration. From there, it should be easy to follow the commits. Favorite question: what are you using for state management recently? Most commonly used phrase: Cypress tests are down. Second most commonly used phrase: I need a new endpoint for this. Favorite language: Haskell. Favorite editor: VS Code with Vim bindings. A senior front-end developer strongly believes that the only thing standing between them and a full-stack role is learning databases. The dream of a senior front-end is to build a front-end framework that is faster than React. Junior backend. A junior backend is typically an introverted person working on a Lenovo ThinkPad. Most commonly used phrase: do you have 5 minutes? Second most commonly used phrase: NoSQL databases scale better. Third most commonly used phrase: HTML is not a programming language. A junior backend's deepest fear is running a migration in production. If you ask a junior backend a casual question about the weather, they will explain it from first principles, and it will take anywhere between 30 minutes and 4 hours. A junior backend knows that the Steve who really mattered is Wozniak. A junior backend typically completes tickets much faster than a senior, but in the process creates new tickets that only senior can solve. A junior backend is overly optimistic when giving estimates on stand-ups and planning sessions, as long as they don't involve database migrations. Senior backend. A senior backend is typically an introverted person working on a Dell laptop, easily recognized by the following phrases: dead letter queue, broker, Avro, backfill, producer, consumer, bus, eventual consistency, event sourcing. But there is a special subspecies of a senior backend developer, the senior Java developer. They are recognized by a different set of keywords: abstract strategy factory, builder factory provider, simple bean factory aware aspect instance factory. A senior backend likes Go, but actually works in Java because enterprise pays better than startups. A senior backend's second worst nightmare is the team retrospective. The first one is when a junior is doing migrations in production. A senior backend typically gives much longer estimates on tasks than anyone else on the team, and this is why they are not really on the best terms with product managers. Most commonly written Slack message: it depends. Closely followed by: why do you need that new endpoint? Most common stand-up update: no updates for me. A senior backend's biggest enemy is an extroverted product manager who wants everyone to turn on their camera. A senior backend knows that Wozniak built Apple, but hates Apple anyway. Junior infrastructure. A junior infrastructure spends most of the time configuring monitoring alerts and corresponding Slack bots. Most commonly used phrases: cluster, Docker, K8s, bare metal, rolling deployment, GitHub Actions. A junior infrastructure engineer's second favorite language is Golang, where Bash is naturally the first. The junior infrastructure engineer uses Arch Linux with the i3 window manager, where the workspace is further divided into multiple Tmux panes, always. Favorite text editor: Vim. Favorite phrases: dude, don't use Nano, use Vim, but also could you run those tests in parallel? Senior infrastructure. A senior infrastructure spends most of the time resolving monitoring alerts and silencing the Slack bots that the junior has set up. A senior infrastructure engineer also uses i3 with Tmux and Vim, but the only difference is that they have a split keyboard, preferably with blackout keycaps. Favorite phrase of the senior infrastructure is simply no. Here's a typical conversation. Hey, I was thinking about adding a new database for this. No. Hey, do you have 5 minutes? No. Do you think it would be a great idea to? No. A senior infrastructure engineer's second favorite language is Bash, where Perl is naturally the first. A senior infrastructure engineer main source of suffering is when people who deployed something yesterday go on vacation. Favorite interview question: what do you do when the server is out of disk space? And second most commonly used phrase: why? But fun fact, my favorite phrase is also why. Are you not subscribed?